fashion business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The NowMedia video business card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
Are you tired of calling several different moving companies and still wondering if your moving needs will be met with a company that is committed to the satisfaction of their clients? Can you really trust a random moving company you just looked up online? Hi, my name is Daudakan. I am Mr. President with Yo Move Moving and Storage. We are the experts in moving and storage business with over 15 years of moving experience. We know how to safely and easily take you from your current home or office to your new home and eliminate the stress of packing, shipping, delivery, storing, and moving to your new home. Additionally, at Yo Move, we make sure our bids are complete with no hidden charges and fully explain every step of the moving process. Our job is to move you with ease and safety. Whether you're moving across the street or across state lines, Yo Move will get you there. Give us a call at 281-988-9700.
Do you know people will treat you based on your looks? Are you tired of living a life with dietary restriction? Do you feel guilty every time you eat? Revenge can be sweet, especially if you don't gain weight. Hi, this is Karelis with Clean Meal. I love to eat delicious food and desserts without the guilt. Do you have diabetes? Do you have gluten allergies? Or maybe you are lactose intolerant? Clean Meals bring to your home incredible desserts with the best ingredients: sugar, gluten, and lactose-free, organic, and keto-friendly. Recover that energy that you long for. Fall in love with yourself and eat with no guilt. Clean Meal, delicious and healthy, because you become what you eat.
Hello, I'm Pamela O'Brien, owner and principal designer at Pamela Hope Designs. We're an award-winning full-service interior design firm located in Houston, Texas, with clients nationwide. We specialize in medium-high to high-end residential and commercial design projects that inspire confidence in you. When asked about our design style, we believe our style is your style at its best, while respecting your budget, your preferences, and your lifestyle. Our talented team of designers, artisans, and craftsmen collaborates with you to create positive design experiences with exquisite results. Unveiling exceptional designs is a privilege, and we want to make it a pleasure for all involved. From updating your existing home or office for a fresh new look to creating a custom project from the ground up, everything we do is designed for you.
Hello and welcome to The Daily Space. I am your host, Dr. Pamela Gay.
And I am your host, Beth Johnson.
And we are here to put science in your brains. Like many of you, we were pleased to wake up to the news that the second Crew Dragon had launched humans to the International Space Station. Sharing its name with Space Shuttle Endeavour, this capsule, with its crew of 3, took off without a hitch and will be discussed in next week's Rocket Roundup.
While Dragon celebrates its second crewed launch, Hubble is up there celebrating its 31st birthday. Launch of the Hubble was delayed to 1990 after the loss of the Space Shuttle Challenger. But there's no denying this millennial glasses-wearing style. As a reminder, that is a great telescope, still doing great science. NASA and ESA released this stunning image of the massive star AG Carinae. With 70 times the mass of the Sun, this luminous blue variable periodically undergoes violent outbursts, during which it expels mass. In Hubble's image, the star can be seen glowing brightly in the center of a ring of glowing material. This nebula is about 5 light years across and is made of 10 solar masses of material that AG Carinae has already blasted to space. For perspective, the Sun and the Alpha Centauri systems could fit nicely within this bright halo.
And speaking of the Alpha Centauri system, its smallest member, the red dwarf Proxima Centauri, has been spotted giving off a massive stellar flare, the likes of which we are alive to say the Sun hasn't been observed to produce. In fact, this single flare was 100 times more powerful than similar events produced by the Sun. It's long been known that tiny red dwarf stars can have powerful flares. And this activity is part of why it's hard to know if planets around red dwarfs can support life for prolonged and continuous periods of time. While reviewing archival data of Proxima Centauri in the Atacama Large Millimeter Array Archive, researchers discovered that this nearest star to the Earth had a flare in 2018. In hopes of catching a second flare, the research team sought and was awarded 40 nights of observing time spread over many months on 9 telescopes on and above the Earth. During this period, one 7-second flare was observed. During this event, the star became 14,000 times brighter in many different colors of light, including both ultraviolet and radio. Lead author of this work, Meredith McGregor, points out Proxima Centauri's planets are getting hit by something like this not once in a century, but at least once a day, if not several times a day. If there was life on the planet nearest to Proxima Centauri, it would have to look very different than anything on Earth. A human being on this planet would have a bad time. These results are published in the Astrophysical Journal Letters and have implications for everyone from stellar astronomers to astrobiologists. They also make me wish that the energy of solar flares was brighter in visible light. Imagine looking up and seeing a star get 10,000 times brighter for just a couple of seconds. If we could see in radio or ultraviolet, we'd see that. It also might be a bit traumatizing, like a sky was filled with lights on the fritz. So maybe it's for the best that we don't actually see that.
From giant flares, we now turn to giant planets. Now, I love when we directly image exoplanets. It's an amazing accomplishment and truly shows how we continue to push the limits of our technology. And sometimes those images reveal planets that make very little sense. Such is the case with YSES 2b, a giant planet about 360 light years away and orbiting at a distance 110 times farther out from its star than the Earth is from the Sun. That's also about 20 times farther than Jupiter orbits. And when we say giant, we mean it's 6 times heavier than Jupiter. So what, Beth? Maybe the star is huge. Nope. The star resembles our own sun, but much younger, only 14 million years old. All of these numbers led a team of astronomers to try and understand just how and where this planet formed. Large planets need a lot of material, and we don't find that much in the accretion disks of protoplanetary systems at that kind of distance. It's also not heavy enough to have been formed from a gravitational instability in the protoplanetary disk, which means it's possible that it formed close in and somehow migrated out. But that requires the influence of another planet, and that planet has yet to be found. The team is going to continue to look for that sibling planet as well as other gaseous planets around young sun-like stars. We'll bring you their findings here on the Daily Space. Up next, we're going to talk about meteorites, carbon dioxide, and Mars. Trust me, folks, these all go together. Stay tuned. The chemistry of meteorites and planets allows us to link together and understand more of our solar system's history and help us maybe survive exploring that solar system. One of the biggest mysteries of our solar system's formation is how Earth ended up with so much water. There is a hypothesis that some, if not all of the water, came from asteroids that hit the Earth during a period known as the Late Heavy Bombardment. You see, those asteroids formed out beyond the ice line, meaning that instead of dealing with gaseous or liquid forms of H2O and carbon dioxide, these bodies were infused with frozen forms. And when a bunch of them collided with the young-ish Earth, all that ice was heated up and released in liquid form or possibly gaseous form and held onto by Earth's gravity. That's good for us since we require said water to live. And now an analysis of the Sutter's Mill meteorite has provided a bit more evidence for the water and carbon dioxide came here from afar hypothesis. The meteorite fell to Earth back in 2012, and due to witness accounts of the fireball and radar data, several pieces were found by my SETI Institute mentor, Peter Yenniskins. Now a team has analyzed some of the tiniest inclusions in the minerals of the meteorite, frozen bits that were trapped inside and are now liquid but still trapped. And they found carbon dioxide-rich water. Per the press release, this would require the asteroid to have formed in a part of the solar system cold enough for water and carbon dioxide to freeze, and these conditions would place the site of formation far outside of Earth's orbit, likely beyond the orbit of Jupiter. The asteroid must then have been transported to the inner regions of the solar system where fragments could later collide with the planet Earth. But they didn't just collide with Earth. Mars, too, has water and carbon dioxide, but frankly, more of the latter is what makes up the atmosphere. Again, the only habitable planet for humans is Earth. Mars will kill us without a whole lot of precautions, and we're still trying to figure out what resources we need to bring and what we can pull in situ, or from the red planet itself. To that end, an instrument on the Perseverance rover called MOXIE, or Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment, successfully accomplished what could turn out to be a major first. It converted carbon dioxide in the atmosphere into oxygen. This is another technology demonstration, like the Ingenuity helicopter, that could turn into something more with further development. However, the question was, is further development worth it? NASA likes to experiment, sure, but they really like things that work before they go into space. And it seems MOXIE works. As the article states, while the technology demonstration is just getting started, it could pave the way for science fiction to become science fact, isolating and storing oxygen on Mars to help power rockets that could lift astronauts off the planet's surface. Such devices also might one day provide breathable air for the astronauts themselves. The atmosphere of Mars is 96% carbon dioxide. Again, not good for humans. So MOXIE separates the oxygen atoms out of the carbon dioxide molecules using a high heat process, 800 degrees Celsius. Well, it grabs one oxygen atom. The other one stays with the carbon and is released as carbon monoxide into the atmosphere. Still not good for humans, but hey, now we have oxygen we can use to breathe and to make rocket fuel to get back to Earth. It's a start anyway. One final meteorite story for you. Earlier this year, we reported that Bennu appears to have pieces of Vesta mixed in with its rocks, and now it turns out that a meteorite we reported on a couple years ago may also be from Vesta. Back in 2018, a fireball was seen streaking across African skies and was traced to an impact area in the Central Kalahari Game Reserve in Botswana. Again, Dr. Yenniskins of the SETI Institute used radar data and witness accounts, as well as help from the local scientific community, to locate fragments of that fireball. 23 meteorites were recovered from the event, pieces that survived the destruction of a 1.5 meter parent object. Analysis of these fragments, as well as pre-impact images taken by the Catalina Sky Survey and the Sky Mapper Southern Survey, allow us to understand the meteorite better than any other object so far recovered. From its chemistry, it appears, these pieces are actually pieces of Vesta that got knocked off billions of years ago during an impact, and through a confluence of orbits, were able to hit our world in 2018. It's a rock universe out there, which for us means free samples of space rock, no robotic sample missions required. After the break, we'll be back to talk about how much our human desire for symmetry keeps mucking with our ability to understand physics.
In a new article in Science News, correspondent Tom Siegfried articulated a problem that has come up in bits and pieces in this show in recent weeks. This problem, put as simple as possible, is we don't understand why the universe has the particles it has. And this is making it really hard to figure out what undiscovered particles are out there waiting to be found as the bits of stuff behind dark matter and maybe even dark energy. In trying to guess at what might be out there, physicists have, as they always have, relied on ideas of symmetry. This sometimes works. Symmetry allows us to figure out the three families of particles that make up the detectable universe, from the foundational quarks up through to the protons, neutrons, and other particles that quarks can build. Symmetry, however, does not always help. Early researchers trying to understand the motions of the planets relied on the ideas of perfect symmetry in Plato's solids. From Ptolemy and Copernicus down through Kepler's early work, planets were assumed to orbit in perfect circles, and since perfect circles' orbits don't match what we see, planets going in circles attached to circles and other crazy combinations of perfect shapes were utilized to try and force symmetry into celestial motions. It didn't work. And it was only in considering the imperfect ellipse, which is only symmetrical if cut in half just right. Well, it was in considering the ellipse that Kepler solved planetary motion by throwing away complete symmetry. And now we know that while some orbits are circles, a special kind of ellipse, all orbits are ellipses. With particle physics, we know that there is symmetry in what we see today. We know that there are things missing from our model. In trying to find what's missing, researchers such as Nobel Prize winner Steven Weinberg have created new families of supersymmetric particles that they can mathematically describe, but that no one has been able to find. This is the theory of supersymmetry and its myriad of supersymmetric particles that are paired to the particles we already have found, but we can't find them. While this theory hints at underlying math that explains their characteristics, the theories lack underlying physics. Newton eventually found gravity to explain orbits, but no one has found that thing that makes the standard model work or leads us to other particles. And with each new set of observations, we are eliminating more and more predicted possible particles and not really finding any. Over the next 2 years, the combined efforts of the Large Hadron Collider and Fermi National Lab and all the neutrino and gamma ray detectors around the world are going to rule out supersymmetry or finally find something. It's going to be one or the other. But we've already ruled out a lot. And it seems like it is time for us to start saying, let's break the concepts of symmetry and look at things from a less perfect angle. As any artist knows, it is not in perfectly centering and perfectly mirroring scenes that beauty is found. The golden ratio and all its mathematical siblings bring beauty to everything from photography to flower petals to the shape of spiral galaxies. Beauty comes in the asymmetry, and perhaps even at the most fundamental level, at the level of particle physics. It's now time to look for asymmetry as the answer. After the break, we'll be back to take a look at Google Earth's new time-lapse feature. Stay tuned. Earlier this week, we mentioned a new feature brought to Google Earth that allows you to now explore tens of thousands of images added from historical satellite datasets. In the promotional graphics and videos that came with that announcement, we saw amazing pictures of what things looked like in 1984 and what they look like today in 2020. In the selected images that were used for this promo, I got the impression that I could go in and look in detail at the farms around where I live now and at the cities I grew up in. And I said we'd provide a review of this software, and this is our Friday afternoon review segment. And Google Earth, you're under review. So, as someone who lives in my browser most of the time, I started by going to Google Earth in the browser. And while you can explore their pre-selected time lapses in your browser, if you actually want to explore anywhere you want, you're gonna need to download Google Pro. This is a Google Pro feature, and it's fine. It's easy, it's free, it works on pretty much any operating system. But once you get it downloaded, what you may find, as I found, is the biggest change from 1984 to 2020 is one of resolution. This was the most zoomed in I could get in on the city of Boston in the 1984 image. If I tried to zoom any more, 1984 is on the right, 2020 is on the left. If I tried to zoom in any more, it just blurred out and basically said, hey, I don't have images for you here. So this allowed me to basically see that the color corrections changed from 1984 to 2020. This was not as satisfying as one might think. From my hometown of Boston, Mass., I jumped to where I live today in Edwardsville, Illinois. This is a small town that I know is greatly growing as our university expands, and, well, as is happening in so many places, Amazon is building warehouses. In the top image in 2020, you see, well, all those warehouses of today. And you see a lot of, well, more farmland than there was in the lower image from 1984. Or I guess greener land? It's hard to tell because, again, the biggest change between 1984 and 2020 was one of resolution. If you're trying to monitor the extent of cities that are growing and building more and more suburbs, it's going to help. If you're trying to find all those giant warehouses being built, it's going to help. If you want to explore your own backyard, you're out of luck. It's a start. It has a way to go. But for now, this has been today's Daily Space.
You can find more information on all our stories, including images, at dailyspace.org. As always, we're here thanks to the donations of people like you. If you like our content, please consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/CosmoQuestX.
COVID-19 COVID-19 transformed the way we do business. Now more than ever, fast lead generation and customer retention will determine if a business survives or not. The NowMedia video business card is designed to be sent using your smartphone. It's the next generation business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The NowMedia video business card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
As a critical aspect of your operations, you need the right technology partner to provide you and your business the peace of mind of having reliable and efficient IT systems. In addition, with cyber threats, ransomware at an all-time high, adequate, continuous, and proactive data protection for your business is an absolute must. Hi, this is Roland Parker with Impress Computer Solutions. We are experts in tailored IT solutions and professional 24/7 IT support services. We proactively monitor, maintain, manage, and protect your IT and data assets. Additionally, we have the know-how and horsepower to do the correct procuring of any and all computer systems or software your company may need. Having the correct IT infrastructure and not being able to operate safely and correctly is very expensive and can eventually destroy growth. So take a decisive step and call me today for a complimentary consultation at 281-647-9977 for your unique IT needs.
Hello and welcome to The Daily Space. I am your host, Dr. Pamela Gay.
And I am your host, Beth Johnson.
And we are here to put science in your brain. Well, we love to tell you what we know. Let's face it, sometimes it's much more interesting to work through a whodunit mystery involving other galaxies than to try and make sense of any more terrestrial mysteries. In our first story of the day, we have the mystery of weird chemical ratios in a dwarf galaxy 430 million light years away in the direction of the Hercules constellation. This little system is a leftover bit from the early universe that, like a bit of unmixed splattered recipe, doesn't contain all the ingredients. And even the existing ingredients, they aren't mixed as expected. This particular system is mostly made of the base elements of the universe, hydrogen and helium. And it is enhanced with a touch of oxygen that was created in massive stars. Surprisingly, these systems also have an unexpectedly large dash of iron. Normally, we expect to see iron to oxygen ratios that reflect the kinds of stars that create these elements under normal conditions. Iron comes from long-lived stars that explode as supernovae, and oxygen comes from smaller stars that exhale their materials into the space around them. The rarity of supernova leads to typically less iron than oxygen. But that's not what we see in this weird galaxy. And this is the second weird galaxy like this we've found. To explain these two galaxies, astronomers considered this difference between stars made today and stars made early in the universe and found that massive stars made prior to the creation of heavy elements could have formed both iron and oxygen, creating the chemical recipe we see in these systems. Because these galaxies are small, once those massive stars formed, nothing was really left to make more massive stars. If this theory is true, these systems should contain intermediate-sized black holes 100 times the mass of the sun or so. It's unclear how we might observe such black holes in these distant galaxies. But it's still cool that we have a theory for what happened that has an observational test. And maybe someday we'll find a way to see the effects of those possible black holes.
Trying to figure out how to observe things takes up a shocking amount of time. Sure, you can go out, look up, do some science, especially variable star science, with your eyeballs. But it turns out that for every easy thing to observe, there are a dozen things trying not to be observed. Things like neutrinos. These antisocial particles are generated in a lot of different nuclear processes, ranging from fission to fusion to everyday radioactive decay and high-speed collisions. These particles generally pass through us by the thousands without anything happening, but occasionally a neutrino with just the right energy on just the right path can collide with a particle in water and give off a flash of light. Our human bodies are far too small for this to be a concern, but scientists can leverage giant regions of water or ice to look for these flashes. And right now, there are new detectors being built by stringing sensors in grids in the Mediterranean, in Russia's Lake Baikal, and off the western coast of Canada. This global network of detectors, we're hoping that it will become possible using those to figure out what kinds of phenomena are producing the neutrinos. Currently, a massive detector named IceCube is looking for flashes in Antarctic ice. 2 of these neutrinos are traced back to events associated with supermassive black holes in galaxy cores. Since we thought these neutrinos came from star-forming regions and supernovae, these discoveries highlight the need for more information. And now, thanks to the Earth having so much water, and the ability of scientists to string sensors together and dangle them in that water, the detailed information we want should be coming.
Finding neutrinos is hard, and not all neutrinos are identical. We know there are neutrinos related to reactions with electrons, muons, and tau particles. And each of these sibling neutrinos has their own mass and their own slightly different way of being found. These 3 flavors of neutrino are all part of the standard model of particle physics, and they have been observed. And they have been observed to oscillate from one kind to another as neutrinos exchange their mass for energy or their energy for mass. In addition to these known particles, there may also be what are called sterile neutrinos or inert neutrinos that come in a wide range of masses that are waiting to be observed. As the theory goes, the known neutrinos have a particle spin that is called left-handed. Basically, if your thumb is the direction of motion, the property called helicities, which is like the spin but not quite the same, is aligned with your fingers curved in the direction of motion. There is no reason, however, that the other orientation shouldn't exist. That particles shouldn't act like if your right thumb is the velocity and your fingers are the helicities. This "why aren't they also flipped?" question has led to the idea, to the hope, that these alternate neutrinos, these sterile neutrinos, could be out there, refusing to interact with anything other than gravity, and having masses anywhere from 1 electron volt to 10 to the 15 giga electrovolts, which is huge for a particle. And there could be many kinds of them out there with many different masses that together add up to explain dark matter. Trying to discover particles that don't want to interact except via gravity, however, is a challenge. Luckily, The Katrine experiment shown here has accepted this challenge, and in a new paper in Physical Review Letters, they describe how they are looking for sterile neutrinos alongside known neutrinos. Basically, in heavy water, protons will periodically be converted into neutrons. And in the process, they give off one electron, one neutrino, and energy. The energy, well, the entire system has a decay energy of 18.6 kiloelectron volts that can be spread between the motions of these particles. And the neutrino's energy can get measured as the flash is created when it hits something. And thanks to probabilities, we'll see a range of energies in those flashes that reflect how often those neutrinos get how much of those 18.6 kiloelectron volts. If sterile neutrinos are formed, we should see a different family of flashes that reflect the energy of the sterile neutrinos. So far, the Katrine experiment has been able to rule out masses between 3 and 30 electron volts for sterile neutrinos. If sterile neutrinos are out there, they're probably kind of big. And this is what we need to explain dark matter. The idea that dark matter is just a flipped version of something we already know about is one that really appeals to me. It doesn't wreck the standard model, but expands it in a sensible direction. Hopefully, Katrine will stop ruling out masses for sterile neutrinos and start finding sterile neutrinos. For now, though, we wait and we wonder, what is dark matter and what particles are out there outside the incomplete standard model, waiting to be found? After the break, we'll be back to talk about how black holes are also being used to hunt for possible dark matter. Stay tuned. We say the standard model is incomplete because we know the universe's mass energy allotment consists of mostly dark energy, then a lot of dark matter that gravitationally throws its mass around while refusing to be seen. And finally, there's a tiny amount of regular matter, like we're made of. The standard model of particle physics does a good job explaining all that visible, detectable stuff we call baryonic matter. But it offers no solutions for dark matter. The standard model is also based on observations and realizing that if we see X and Y, there is probably also a Z. But it doesn't give us solid physics to explain why there's an X and a Y and a Z needed in the first place. As we've said before, this is like the point when Kepler could explain planetary positions with his 3 laws of orbital motion, but he didn't have gravity to explain why the equations worked. The theory was good. It was just missing the underlying physics. Particle physics is currently at that stage. The standard model is good, but we know it is missing things. Dark matter. 27% of the makeup of the universe. It's a missing thing. And because dark matter only interacts with gravity or when it randomly collides with something else, scientists are looking at every collision and every gravity field for signs of dark matter. In addition to thinking dark matter could be sterile neutrinos, particle physicists think a hypothetical particle called an ultralight boson is also a possibility. In general, bosons are particles that carry force or other properties. The Higgs boson carries mass, the photon carries the electromagnetic force, gluons and WZ particles, they carry the strong and weak forces. It's unclear what ultralight bosons might do, but if they are out there, they should be interacting. One possible kind of ultralight boson is the axion, and if it is out there, it could be interacting with spinning black holes. As the theory goes, a supermassive black hole should pull in clouds of ultralight bosons because, let's face it, black holes will pull in anything that gets too close. Since the bosons don't have the same motion as the spinning black hole, when their slow motion selves get pulled in, the black hole should slow down. This is like what happens when someone hops onto a spinning playground carousel. Its rotation spins as it gains its rotation actually slows as it gains their not moving fast enough mass. In looking at supermassive black holes, scientists have realized that fast rotating systems put limits on what mass the theoretical ultralight bosons might have. If we find fast spinning old black holes, that means there probably aren't a large mass of ultralight bosons out there slowing things down as they hop on and hop off the spinning black hole like kids on a carousel. And looking at the black holes, GW 190412 and GW 190517, scientists have determined these two old supermassive black holes are rotating pretty much as fast as a supermassive black hole can rotate, which is twice as fast as would be expected if ultralight bosons exist. This means that ultralight bosons, if they are out there, aren't the ultralight masses we imagined. They could exist, just at an even smaller mass than imagined, but the more we look, the more we aren't finding things, and it is starting to get kind of annoying. But this is why we scientists do science. We want to figure out these problems with the universe, and some problems are just going to take a while to sort. After the break, we'll be back to talk bright glows in the night sky. Stay tuned.
Now, let's solve a terrestrial mystery after all. Aurora are nothing new. We've talked about them before, whether it was citizen scientists helping understand the Steve phenomenon or aurora on other planets like Jupiter and Saturn. We are all fascinated by their beauty. And yet, there are still unexplained phenomena when it comes to aurora. Today, however, there is one fewer mystery. Allow me to introduce you to the space hurricane. Let's start with the basics. Aurora occur when charged particles, electrons generally, interact with atoms high in the Earth's atmosphere. The electrons change the state of the atoms, increasing their energy, but that isn't a stable state. The atoms then lose that energy and return to their original stable state, and the energy is released as photons of light, creating the gorgeous colors we see in the sky. So where do the charged particles come from? The sun. In particular, they are carried on the solar wind, and when the sun is in its more active phases, we frequently get aurora alerts. Anytime there is a coronal mass ejection, we can definitely expect aurora in the highest latitudes around the polar regions. If an ejection is particularly large, the aurora can extend into the mid-latitudes. I know my family in Minnesota has been able to see them. However, aurorae don't just happen when the sun is energetic. There have been numerous instances of spectacular aurora occurring when the sun is quiet and there is little solar wind. So a research team combed through thousands of aurora images to understand why these events occurred. They found several dozen instances, and one event in particular lasted for 8 hours, giving the team a lot of data to work with. And what they found was that these aurora were spiral shaped and circular, like a hurricane. That 8-hour hurricane occurred on August 20th, 2014, and it was made of spiral arms of plasma that were over 965 kilometers long, spinning around a calm center. Instead of water falling, these atmospheric storms rained electrons over the magnetic North Pole. Now, unlike their more terrestrial counterparts, these space hurricanes aren't a large risk to humans on the surface. But they are important to understand because all that energy can cause fluctuations in radio waves that pass through the ionosphere. That could affect our satellite communication and maybe even navigation. Let's not have ships get stuck because of this. Plus, these storms might heat up the upper atmosphere, which would expand as a result, changing in density. And all of that becomes an issue for the satellites and space debris that orbit at that elevation. change the drag on a craft and you change its velocity. That makes orbital predictions more difficult. As co-author Larry Lyons notes, if you want to know where the space station is going to be a few hours from now, you have to know what kind of atmosphere it's going through. There are still a lot of open questions about these newly discovered space hurricanes, and lead author Qinghei Zhang lays them out. What controls the rotation of space hurricanes? Are these space storms seasonal like their tropical counterparts, perhaps limited to the summer when the Earth's magnetic dipole is tilted just the right way? And can space hurricanes be forecasted like weather events on Earth? Pamela and I are both excited to see where this new avenue of research goes. The Aurora are just cool. We'll be right back after one last break to share some of our favorite science apparel and places to buy them. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back. We are working to start bringing you our honest reviews of products related to science, space, and just sometimes waving your nerd flag. And today we're going to take on apparel. Now, if we don't like something, we will tell you. But the truth is, the things we have to share today, we absolutely love and are likely to walk up to people and go, see this, get this, be a nerd with me. And Beth actually did that to me yesterday over Discord as she shared the shoes she got that she's reviewing.
Okay, so these shoes are so cute. All right, what happened was, really quick intro here. We were out. I saw a woman with these adorable shoes. I complimented her on her shoes. This is always a good thing to do with women, compliment what they picked out to wear, and asked her where she got them. She explained. I went to go hunt them down, and in hunting them down, they are made by a company called Hot Chocolate, and my husband and I found the cutest design, and I was sort of, all right, shoes, I'll get them later. But my husband does not feel that way about things when I get kind of giggly about them. So these magically appeared just the other day. So you can see that these have, I mean, look, it says nerdy on it in chemicals. There's E equals MC squared. It's all science. So there's math, there's biology. They're adorable. Look at that. I mean, who wants some organic chemistry on their shoes? And they're rubber soled, very flexible. And I wore them yesterday. My feet are not used to this type of shoe anymore, but they were really comfortable. They didn't rub in weird places. They fit nicely. They don't have half sizes, so I will warn you of that. But if you and I put the packaging that came with it away, unfortunately, but they came in a box that looks like a chocolate milk carton. So, do the brains provide good support for plantar fasciitis? No. Well, I have had plantar fasciitis, and I'm going to say that, yeah, they could. These are pretty squishy and supportive on the inside. I really liked them. I didn't have any points of pain in my feet when I wore them yesterday, and I walked around a very large, big box hardware store. I'll let you figure out which one. The logo is orange. So I'm going to say that definitely 5 out of 5 on these shoes. These are adorable and cute, and they have lots of other patterns. These were just the really geeky ones, but if you prefer like a floral or a goth, they had all kinds. So I'm very pleased with this purchase and would highly recommend it. Again, these are from Hot Chocolate, and you can find these on Amazon. Pamela, what have you got?
So my story starts very similar. A number of years ago, I saw Bethany Berkshire in a lovely dress that had circuit board pattern in that 1980s green screen color all over it. And I kind of walked up to her and I was like, that dress is amazing. And her first response was, it has pockets. So folks, if you're ever asked, what do women want? The only answer is pockets.
Pockets.
And then she went on to explain that the dress came in sizes extra small to 5XL, which means there's very few body types on the extremes that these dresses don't fit. And in the years since then, Svalha has continued to expand their line. And they recently came out with a dress that has the Mars Perseverance rover's parachute pattern as the skirt. Now, in reviewing a number of these different dresses in different sizes, not sizes, in different styles, by which I mean by purchasing with my own money a number of these dresses, I am happy to say that while not all dresses fit all body types, they have nerdy apparel that fits all body types. And one of the things they do that allows them to keep their materials in the often under $100 range, which for high-end nerdy clothing is still fairly cheap. They have all of their dresses in just a small number of cuts. So once you figure out what cut of dress fits your body, you can then go off and buy it in programming code, solar system design, dinosaurs, circuit boards, the electromagnetic spectrum, and a variety of constantly changing patterns. They also have dresses that have glow-in-the-dark things on them, which I will warn you, your laundry basket might scare you in the middle of the night should you purchase some of these. This is a drawback to be aware of. But overall, if you're looking for super comfy, super nerdy clothing that fits all sizes and now comes in children's, and there are t-shirts and hoodies for men as well, Svalha USA. And I think that's the end of our review for today.
This has been The Daily Space.
Having a spotless house is critical for your quality of living. Hi, this is Kevin Thury with WashPros.us. At WashPros, we are locally owned and operated, servicing Central Houston, Austin, and Dallas. We are fully insured. We offer annual, semi-annual, and quarterly cleanings. We recognize that needs change and Mother Nature keeps us on our toes. Just know we are happy to help. We use eco-friendly products and a purified water cleaning system for a spotless shine. We service HOAs, the property managers, investment firms, and you, the homeowner. If you're putting your house on the market or have an annual maintenance cleaning schedule, or you're interested in holiday lighting, we are your one-stop shop for all of your exterior cleaning and holiday lighting needs. Call me today for your free on-site quote and let WashPros.us be your clean escape.
Managing a property can take the time out of your daily life, but property owners and landlords can turn to an experienced and trustworthy property management company to take the stress out of renting. Elda Management Services can make all the difference in renting a home, whether you are a landlord or a homeowner living in the US or overseas. We can monitor the status of your rental property, and we can take care of any maintenance requests you may have. From accounting to tenant screening and maintenance services, we take care of it without you worrying about it. That's why individuals all over the world that are looking to invest in real estate in the Houston and the surrounding areas turn to us, because we are reliable, we're trustworthy, and we offer the highest level of services for your home. And if you're thinking of buying, selling, or leasing a property, Elda Management Services can help you find that next great investment in the Houston and the surrounding areas. By seeking properties and on and off the MLS, Elder Management Services has been awarded the Award of Excellence by the BBB 6 years in a row, including 2 Pinnacle Awards, which is the highest award given. Additionally, having been a part of NARPM for well over 12 years, including the presidency of the Houston chapter in 2018. Call Elder Management Services today at 281-894-8659 and let us take on the task of managing your properties with the highest level of standards.
Hi, I'm Dwayne Saunders, owner of Genuine Automotive and Diesel. When your car needs repair, trust our skilled technicians at Genuine Automotive and Diesel to get you safely back on the road. It is our mission not only to fix your vehicle, but help provide honest expert advice so you can make the most informed decision about your automotive repair. Whenever you need routine maintenance, electrical service, an alignment, or transmission work, we're here for you. Our technicians bring years of experience and extensive training to give you the highest quality care and service. We listen carefully to all our customers' needs so we can meet your repair goals and budget. At Genuine Automotive and Diesel, customer loyalty and trust is our top priority. That's why we work hard every day to create an exceptional experience that will bring you back, so the next time you've got car trouble, give us a call at 512-410-2599 or stop in and see us in our North Austin location.
I'm here to take you to a new frontier, the final frontier. In fact, you and I are going where no one has gone before. I'm Glenn Henderson, entrepreneur, success coach, and musician, and I want to personally invite you to take this journey with me in the pages of my best-selling new book, All I Need to Know About Success I Learned from Star Trek. We'll travel aboard the USS Enterprise along with Captain James T. Kirk, Spock, and the finest crew in Starfleet. And we'll learn together about success principles like how to work with a team and accomplish your goals, when to fight for what you believe, and when not to, and what your business really is, no matter what you do for a living. Beam aboard with me. My mission is your success. And I'll see you on the bridge. Live long and prosper.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Reciban un fuerte y caluroso abrazo. Hoy estamos aquí en Coast to Coast Motors. Estamos iniciando nuestro programa del mejor dealer de autos de la ciudad. Andrés, es un placer compartir el día de hoy contigo los estudios aquí en la Ciudad Espacial.
Gracias, Gustavo, por la invitación. Estamos bien contentos de que nos hayas recibido y pues vamos a hablar un poco sobre el financiamiento.
Claro que sí, Andrés. Vamos a hablar primero las locaciones de Coast to Coast Motors, dónde estamos ubicados aquí en la Ciudad Espacial y en algunos estados también dónde nos encontramos.
Sí, Coast to Coast Motors está ubicado en el 45 Norte. Tenemos la sede principal con el área de servicio. Tenemos otra locación en el 1960 con el 45 Norte. Okay. Otra en la Airland Drive y una nueva que acabamos de abrir en la Gulf Freeway.
Básicamente lo que estamos hablando el día de hoy está disparada la venta de autos aquí en la Ciudad Espacial. Siempre tenemos trocas allí en el 45 Norte, también en el Gulf Freeway. Ahí nos bajamos en la Golf Van, en el 45